let me just say. Hey YouTube, welcome back to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast Siblings, where we cover your favorite movies and TV shows. It's me, Sid. I am covering Shadow and Bone, the entire series that dropped tonight on Netflix. Sorry if I'm like being awkwardly quiet or not loud enough. It's just 7 o'clock in the morning here. I just finished the series. So I'm gonna give you a spoiler-free review on the entire series, and then I'll start releasing videos episode by episode so you can get a more thorough breakdown. But this is just my reaction off the bat. I was not crazy about the Shadow and Bone book, okay? I didn't really like the first book, so much so that I barely finished the second book, and I didn't even touch the third book. So they were just alright. To me, they were really slow and they tended to drag. Oh my gosh, they fixed that problem. And I think the biggest thing that fixed it was adding the Six of Crows story in, so it coincided with what happens in Shadow and Bone. Now, I haven't read Six of Crows, so I don't know exactly where Kaz comes from or what his backstory is with his whole crew, but I know that they're thieves. I know that they do heists, so I don't know if their first book really has anything to do with Alina and what's going on in her world, but I think for this show it was fantastic. I was entertained the entire time. That's just a general review. Let's talk about what I loved about it, okay? First, we meet all of our characters. We meet Alina, we meet Mal, we meet the Darkling, we meet Kaz, we meet Inej, we meet Jasper, we meet Zora, we meet everybody within the first couple of, oh, actually we don't meet the Darkling until episode 2, I believe. We're kind of introduced to this world, the world of the Grishaverse. And long story short, because I'm not going to spoil it for you guys at all, but Alina finds out that she is a Grisha. I think you can probably tell that from the trailers. This pretty much changes her entire life, and it brings her into meeting the Darkling. And I'm so sorry if I ever call him the Dark One. I'm currently reading a different YA fantasy series where that bad guy is called the Dark One, so if I do that, I apologize. Anyway, let's talk about the cast. So reading the books, I didn't get a very strong impression of Alina, and to be honest, in the Netflix series, I didn't either, but I like the way the actress played it. I think Alina was honest and believable. I think it made sense why she didn't want to be the savior. She didn't know anything about these powers. And I think where with, you know, Jennifer Lawrence, we get a Katniss who is like disturbingly removed from everything. With Alina and the actress who played her, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, we understand why she doesn't want to be the savior. She's new to this world and it's all very frightening, and she's separated from her best friend slash future lover, Mal. So I think that was great. I think she did a great job. Obviously, I love Ben Barnes. I just think he's great. So he did a great job as the Darkling. Also, just want to point out, he's a lot older than the rest of the cast, and he fits in very, very well, and I think that plays into the Darkling being so much older than everyone else, at least hundreds and hundreds of years older than everyone else. So I think that dynamic was great, but it was kind of weird because he didn't have a lot of like sexual tension, or at least I didn't feel it between him and Alina. I could tell he was kind of flirting with her, but it was almost in sort of like, I don't know, it was a little distant, but I still liked it, I still believed it, and I still think that she felt betrayed by the end of it. I do want to talk about the time where she's in the little palace and she's learning about her powers, and she has all of her, you know, training time with Bagda and things like that. First of all, I like the way they did it in the TV show. Sorry I'm constantly comparing it to the book, but I mean, honestly, what else did they think people were going to do? My only complaint with that was it was hard to tell how much time had gone by. And in the book, oh my gosh, it just drolls on forever. Or at least it feels that way. But in this show, she does tell Mal that it's been months while she was there. So I think you can tell she's settling in, she's making friends, she's starting to accept herself as a Grisha, which perfectly sets us up for the big surprise that I won't spoil. So I thought that was great. The casting of Mal, I think he's great. He was very believable, and I'll be honest, I didn't really care about Mal in the books, but I think this actor did a great job of bringing Mal's heart and his loyalty to Alina into it. And they didn't really play up the fact that he was like a, you know, a ladies' man. Like, they said it, but he never came off that way. To me, he always seemed very genuine. And even with his scene with Zora at the beginning, he never seemed like he was a player, you know? But I didn't mind that because I thought he did a great job. Cast, never read the books. I think he was a perfect cast. He is very, just sort of, you know, very, very smart, very mysterious. And I think Inej, I hope I'm saying her name right. You know, it's crazy. I heard them say it all night. Now I can't remember. But I think their chemistry was really, really good to watch. You could tell that he cares about her, but he doesn't want to say it. And she obviously just cares about him. Yeah, I think the casting of both of them was really, really good. And I appreciate the diversity in the cast. I know it wasn't like super diverse, but I think there was a good mix of ethnicities, which is always nice to see. And I know that Verdugo, the author, she wrote these characters with those ethnicities in mind. So that was really cool, and I definitely appreciated that they followed through with that in the casting. One thing about that, though, I didn't notice in the books, but in the TV show, they kept mentioning that Alina was part Shu. She was half Shu. They kept calling her, you know, a half-breed and a Shu. And I didn't notice any of that in the books, but it seemed to be such a huge defining part of her character. And I missed why that mattered. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about that whole thing. To me, it didn't seem that important, other than I guess people didn't like the shoe. And if I missed something huge, I apologize. I will be rewatching this for my episodic coverage. But this is just fresh off my dome because I thought it was great. I have no complaints as far as the actors go, and no complaints as far as the story goes either. I loved, you know, jumping around from Kaz and Co. to, you know, Alina, and then when Mal got separated looking for the stag. And I even loved Nina and Mateus's little story. It gave me such strong, like, Game of Thrones vibes sometimes with, you know, Jon Snow and Ygritte, just because there's like this strong, you know, dislike and even hatred on the male side, and the woman just doesn't care about any of those things, and they're in the snow and they develop a little spark. So I really like that. I thought that was just a nice touch to add, a nice, you know, another storyline to have. And I love TV shows where there are multiple storylines going at once. I just think that makes everything more interesting. And I loved how they finally converge at the end, and they're all in the same boat. And Nina doesn't really know, you know, what's been going on, what's happened. And yeah, they're all stuck in a boat together. So I think that's great. Very excited to see where that goes. And I'm so excited for season 2. I can't even tell you. I'm like, whoo, that was great. Sorry if I'm talking really fast or like am a little jumpy. I have been awake since yesterday morning, but that's okay because that's what coffee's for, am I right? And I was happily entertained. Also, we did cover Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the season finale of that, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description below. So, a couple complaints. I thought Alina's powers looked strange, like, and maybe it's just me, but like she like lit up and it just looked a little fake. I mean, I get it, it's hard to make a human being turn into, like, you know, light, but I just think they could have, honestly, I don't know. I just thought Alina's powers were kind of displayed a little oddly, but I love the physical movement of the Grisha. I also love the backstory that we got on the Darkling and kind of his motivation hundreds of years ago before he ever met Alina. Also, I wanted to point out too, well, I don't want to spoil it, but Alina and Mal don't seem to have any romantic chemistry. There's romantic chemistry there, but I'm gonna spoil this because it's in the book. In the first book, they have a little smoochy, and by the end of the book, they're like in a committed relationship. And in this one, they're not. They're still friends. You can tell at the beginning they had a more sibling-like relationship. By the end of it, it seems romantic, but it's not set in stone. That is an important part of the story, so I'm wondering when that's going to come in. Also, for you guys who have read Six of Crows, Inej, Jasper, and Kaz, do they have powers? They seem to be special. I think there's a scene where Jasper's, you know, fighting someone and he says, "What are you?" And Jasper like bonks him on the head and it's like, "Nope." And obviously their powers are superhuman. So I'm just wondering, you know, what exactly they are. I don't know anything about the Six of Crows books. To be honest, I don't even want to read the books anymore because the Netflix show was so good. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I'm going to be recommending it to all of my friends. It's so nice when you read a YA fantasy novel and then it becomes a TV show and it's actually really, really good. and it's even better than the book because I wasn't a huge fan of the books. So that just makes me really, really happy. I'm just kind of nerding out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So like, leave me in my bubble. Anyway, you guys, that's all I have, but I will definitely be doing episodic coverage of Shadow and Bone. I'll be doing episodes 1 through 8 so we can kind of get in depth a little bit more and talk about things. So if you want to stay up to date on those videos, don't forget to click the bell, like this video if you like this video, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments. Let's chat this up. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. Even though I've already seen the whole thing, I'm so excited to get into my episodic reviews and talk to you guys about it and hear what you think. So yeah, all right. I think I've talked enough and I will see you next time.